me tell you this story. I want you to listen to this story as I tell it. There was an older man sitting in his living room one night. Outside his window, there's snow was coming down. It's real hard, and there's a big, deep snow on the ground. It was a real bad snow that night, just blizzard-like. Couldn't see your hand in front of you. And as he was sitting there in his warm living room and all, he heard something thumping something thumped a time or two on the side of the house, and he thought, what in the world is it? So he raises up, looks out the curtain window, and there was a flock of geese flying around his barn and around the house, and they were hitting the side of the house and all. And he said, those poor geese, they can't find their way. They don't know how, they just hitting the house and this and that. And he said, he gets this idea, I'm going out to the barn and I'm going to open the barn door. They can go in there and stay for the night. He went out to the barn, he opened the door. He got back and they wouldn't go in. They wouldn't go in. They just kept flying around this and that. And he said, why won't you go in? Get in out of this bad weather and stuff. That's the only hope you got. He said, I'll go out and as they land, I'll try to get them in. As a bunch of them came down by the barn, the front of the barn, he went in, he tried to gather them up and get them in, but they just flew everywhere, just wouldn't go. He said, why won't you go in? Why won't you go in? It's the only hope you got. And then all at once, it dawned on him. My wife's been trying to tell me that for a long time. Why don't you come and go to church with us? It's the only hope you've got.
Right.
It's the only hope you've got. He said, it dawned on me that night what she'd been trying to tell me all this time. God's the only hope you have.
That's right.
Now, why did I want to tell this story? Because mankind only hope was upon the cross that day.
That's right.
They were nailing man's only hope to the cross that day. And I told the church this morning, we had a Savior that was lamb, had been beaten to an inch of his life. We had a Savior that was put on the cross, and big nails drove in him. And there's this big rough man. Look, I can see this in the theater of my mind. It's this big rough man, that hammer nail popping. And he's just hollering and screaming. And he looks up to this big old bushy, rough, bearded man. Just, you've seen the Bible days. And he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Right.
He said, if they knew, they wouldn't be doing this. We look out into a world and see how they're going such a wrong way, and we say, if they only knew. If they only knew, they wouldn't be doing the things we do. We all sit on and watch our TVs, and we look at see the White House with all our political leaders, and we think, if God could only intervene, if God could only get into that White House, like He does a lot of the churches. Why do y'all not have, why is it you don't want the Lord in there? See, those geese was not going into that barn because they just didn't know that was the place of safety. That was the place. That farmer said, you're doomed if y'all don't go into that barn. I've left the door open for you. God said the same thing. I've left the door open for you. Right. He said, I stand at the door and knock. Why don't you open it up for me? Why in the world don't you open up the door? I'm the only hope that you have. I'm the only hope that you have.
Right.
And does it not break a Christian's heart to know that I have children out there who are going the wrong way? I have grandchildren out there who are thinking they're right and they're wrong. We all are in that position. Remember years ago when you hear about some kind of tragedy or some kind of this or that, and it was always afar off. You heard about it. And now it's right in our homes.
That's right.
You cannot go from a house to a house that there ain't some kind of story that they can tell you about either their life, their children, or their grandchildren. Now, see, it's affecting us all down through there. Down through there. And I don't know about you, I want to plug this tonight. First of all, I want to tell you that we need radio stations around the world like this. Because see, the devil is feeding us everything but good. I came in and the first thing I seen up on the wall says a Christian radio station.
Right.
A Christian radio station. We listen to everything but Christian radio anymore. We're getting pushed out, and everything else is on the radio. You know, let me hear. I'll tell you what I told this man one time. Music other than Christian music is for entertainment and for the ears, tickles the ears. Christian music will feed the soul.
Right. Amen.
Hey, it will feed the soul. How many times have you heard a song and it went from your ears right to your heart, and you didn't all at once the tears flow? Because why? They touched home, didn't they?
Yeah.
They touched home, and they like, man. A guy asked me one time. He said, Benny, with all the things that goes on in this world, this young man was a bouncer at a nightclub, a rough old place. Rough old place. Matter of fact, he was a little boy from North Carolina. One night they found him laying out in the road with his teeth knocked out, laying in the middle of the road, where he apparently made somebody mad or something. But he asked me one day, he said, Benny, with all the things that's going on in the world, how come the Lord don't come back? And I looked at him and I said, do you really want him to? Do you really want him to? What's going to happen if he comes back and you're not ready?
Right.
There's some of us here just waiting until that eastern sky opens up. Paul said, I have that longing. I have that longing to see a place called heaven. I've never seen it, only in the theater of my mind, through the words of God. But he said, I long for that place. But here, if I'm not saved, do I really want him to come back? Do I really? The best we can do for our children is pray that the Lord, you keep them saved. You keep them saved until they finally decide that, listen, I need the Lord, or the Lord comes back. I think we're closer now than we've ever been to the Lord's return. If you read your Bible, the Lord says, how come you can read the signs of the seasons, but you don't see the signs of the times? Why is it you can't see all these things going on? Look at all the track. I'm going to tell people all the time, I said, do you know how powerful our God is? First time I said it was Louisiana. They built all that Louisiana in there. Man thought he'd really done something, a whole city. God said, I'm going to show you something. He took a swipe of his hand in the water and covered the whole city. Now how powerful are you? He said, I just took with one hand. He said, I blew my breath down and it went plumb across the state, destroying homes and destroying lives and destroying it. He said, I can take my hand. I can breathe the breath of life right through. This reporter, she was standing there on news when that big hurricane come through down in Florida. She said, I witnessed something I've never seen in my life. I just seen a big 2-story house come off the foundation and roll down the street.
Wow.
She said, I've never witnessed nothing like it in my whole life. God says, with my word, I spoke the world into existence. We're out here, people are out here chasing everything but God. Now this comes to this. Last week, I called it the Dreamers Week. The Dreamers Week. You see them all dreaming last week? They had that little piece of paper about that big, little square piece of paper. Listen, I've never bought a lottery ticket in my life, and that's my business, and yours is yours. It had me dreaming. How much would I give to my children? How much would I give to my grandchildren? How much would I do? And I'm thinking, well, you're dreaming and you've never bought a ticket in your life. How are you going to spend that kind of money? But see, here's the thing I want to tell you. Was it the Lord that's trying to help people with that money? Or was it Satan saying, listen, Lord might save one at a time, but I'm going to get, this here's going all the way across the United States. People are going to spend money they don't have. People are going to buy this. People are going to do this. People are going to be dreamers. They was asking them, how are you going to spend the money? Well, they were just rattling it off. How are you going to spend it? They were dreaming. Well, I'll be giving this and I'll be giving that. And listen, even if I win that 1.6 billion, it won't change me. Well, you know who told you that? The devil.
That's right.
You think it wouldn't change me? God says you have what you have because maybe you can't handle anymore.
Right.
You have what you have, and maybe that's where you're supposed to be. And if it was not, I would put you somewhere else. I would do you different. We need to learn to be satisfied with what God gives us.
That's right.
We need to learn to love the Creator more than the creation. We need to learn that. The world's just chasing things other than God. The world's just chasing things, chasing things, chasing things. And God says, I've had my hand out all the time.
Right.
God told the sinner, he said, listen, my hand's been out there from the beginning of your life. From the beginning of time, my hand's always been out there. When you turned your back on me, and my hand was still out there. And finally, one day, you turned around and took me by the hand. I pray this day that would be for every man, woman, child on this earth, that they one day would reach up and take Jesus' hand and say,
Amen.
I love you and I want what you offer. I want what you offer. And then he said, not only have I offered you things here on this earth that bless you out of your socks, just bless you with more than you need. But see, now I've gone to prepare a place for you. And there you shall be with me always. Isn't that neat?
Amen.
Isn't that neat?